You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. My name is Ash Schnoor, and we are here with Devin from Honey Revenge.
Hello.
She's here to talk about all things summer school tour and what's next. So let's get right into it. My first question for you is you played as an opener for Scene Queen and the home team on Summer School 2024. How does it feel coming back as a headliner for this year?
It's so exciting. I think it's really cool to be a part of the history of a tour like this and to be able to say that we were an opener the first year when it was still getting sorted, and now that it's a more established festival, we get to come back as the headliners and do it with so many friends for a second
Yeah,
time. It's really, really awesome, and I'm really looking forward to it.
it's awesome. Yeah. Kind of in the vein of Friends, the tour has such a cool, awesome, diverse lineup. What's kind of the most exciting point about sharing the stage with artists like Chase, Petra, and Winona Fighter?
Well, Chase Petra, I've mentioned it a couple times, are our very, very first friends in the scene. They played the first ever Honey Revenge show when we were a band in someone's backyard, and they played my old band's EP release show back in 2019. So we have a history with them, and it's just kind of about time that we tour with them. To put it simply. Winona Fighter is really awesome because we've been internet friends for such a long time, never actually met. And I think
Never
they're
aligned.
so awesome that they're the only band I think. Actually, no, it's crazy. I haven't seen South Arcade yet either, but we've also been friends for so long. It's just gonna be kind of a full circle moment
It,
as far as friends.
it's the Umfcella tour.
So I really think we've collected all the Twitter bands like Infinity Stones, is what
Yes.
I say.
Yeah,
And I feel like after this, we'll just about be complete with our collection.
pretty much, pretty much. Yeah. Um, is there anything in specific that makes summer school different from like a typical tour where you're just like regular headlining to you specifically?
Yeah, I think it's way more community based. It doesn't feel like we're so out of reach. There's not really like a VIP program for summer school. Typically, when we headline, to save my voice at least, we do it because I will just yap to everybody that comes to meet us at merch. And sometimes it's not sustainable, especially on a typical headliner. We play for a little bit longer, but because with summer school, there's that additional layer of extra bands. Our set is still a headlining set. We still go on last. We still have the longest set of the tour
Mhm.
out of all the bands, but it's not, an hour and a half of singing. It's a little bit more community based. We're a little bit more evenly dispersed time wise. So we still get to go out and meet people. There's no additional charge. It's also really cool because it almost has that Warped Tour effect where a lot of people are coming for specific bands and end up discovering new bands in the process, which obviously that happens on regular tours. I think that's part of picking eclectic lineups, which is something that Honey Revenge really prides ourselves on in general. However, with Summer School, because there are so many bands, there's no way everyone is going to know every single artist. And it's really cool to watch people in real time discover someone that they're going to carry with them and bring with them out into future listening experiences.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens to me all the time where it's like, oh, I'm here for the one band, but everyone's really good. So it's fun to kind of share the love around where it's like, I'm going for one band, but a lot of people go for one and they stay for the others, thankfully, which is what we want, what we need. I'm gonna get a little silly with it. If every brand was a class on the lineup, where do you think you would fit?
That's such an interesting question. I feel like it's such a generic, but I feel like we're the choir students of the tour. We're a little bit more choreographed. I feel like
That
every
makes
other
sense.
gives rock band, and the reason we don't pop rock is because we have those kind of choreographed parts of the set. There's that deep seated part of me as a person who was I was in show choir. That was my life in high school. And I wore the sparkly dresses and I wore the colorful outfits, and I had to like hit my mark and stand a certain way, and my arms had to go a certain place. So I feel like we are the show choir. We I don't feel like the other bands go about it as like we have to color coordinate our outfits. Like I'm a little bit neurotic in that way about it. And Johnny and I really like to stand out and really look like a group in that way. So I'm excited because I think I really bring the show choir to the summer school.
Yeah, 100%. That makes sense. Um, a lot of the other bands are a lot more like not rougher, but for lack of a better word, it's kind of that. So it's nice to see that kind of like juxtaposition where it's like a bunch of stuff coming together. And I agree with the show choir. I think that's a good pick. I think that's a good pick. I'm gonna get silly again, and then we'll get a little bit more serious. If you had to pick, would you rather have fish or shrimp in your pocket?
I'm a vegetarian, so I would say neither.
That's a,
Unless it's a bag and I'm taking it to set it free.
it could be a friend. It could be a pet. It could be a friend.
I feel like a fish is a better pet than a shrimp.
I agree. I agree. Okay, so neither, but if it's a pet or a friend,
Hmm.
the fish. Okay, good answer. Good answer. So, as you mentioned before, how your headlining, so your set list is still a little longer, but how do you approach? You mentioned before that since you're headlining, the set list is a little longer, but it's still a completely different tour than what you've done before, other than the other summer schools. How do you approach building a set list for a tour like this?
We're still figuring that out, and it's a really interesting question because we don't really know yet. Essentially, we're rolling out a new record this year.
Okay.
That's not too much of a spoiler. I think people know it's coming.
Yeah.
I don't want to be serious about it because I want people to know it's happening and I want people to listen. So we've put out already 3 new tracks for it. And so it's going to be interesting in the 45 minutes that we have to make and curate a set list. We're really going to be trying to find a mixture between getting to showcase these new songs and showcase this new era while simultaneously closing the chapter on Retrovision. This will be like the last proper tour we do under the Retrovision era. And that's really bittersweet because we've been playing these songs for a long time.
Yeah.
Also, this has been that we owe everything to Retrovision. We owe everything to this era. You know, we had never toured when we started rolling out Retrovision, and this became our full-time jobs in this era, which is so not something I ever thought I'd be able to say on. And it's a culmination for sure. Summer school will definitely be a culmination of the end of Retrovision and the beginning of our next era as Honey Revenge. So definitely trying to mix the showcasing of the new music while paying homage to the old stuff and giving it its chance to shine. So we're still figuring it out. I think I'll just talk less, honestly, which is a big reason why people like to come see us is because I yap and I say all sorts of stupid stuff on stage. But also, I want to keep the music I can. So
Yeah, no, that's the best way to do it. I like the idea of the amalgamation of everything in a proper send off. I think that'll be really fun. So I'm glad. So if you were to say if someone were to discover you at summer school tour, if they haven't heard music from you before and they follow you online on your career, what do you want the next chapter for for Honey Revenge specifically to be?
when you say the next chapter, what do you mean?
That's a good question. So you said new album. I'm assuming that's after summer school.
Yeah,
Are we
that's
thinking tour after that? Maybe.
you know, there's some things in the works. The fun
Things
thing
in the
about the
works.
music
Okay.
industry, and I say fun as positively as I can, is that nothing is locked in for sure happening until it's public information.
Yeah.
I've gabbed about things that I think are for sure happening, and then
They just don't.
never does. And then I have people coming up to me asking me what happened, and I'm like, you know what? I really thought it was gonna go through, but you will have a new album by the end of the year.
Okay. Okay. That's awesome to hear. That's awesome to hear. I'm
For sure.
glad that people attending will get to look forward to that.
Yes, and they
So
will know that. By the time summer school happens, they have the information.
that's good to hear. That's good to hear. I'm glad. You mentioned Retrovision before, and I want to touch on that a little bit more. You mentioned that you owe everything to it. You owe it a proper send off. What has kind of Retrovision blowing up? How has that felt for you?
You know, I'm a fangirl truly and deeply in my identity. I've always been a fangirl. We were talking about the opening bands earlier and how you discover them. My whole life revolved around going to shows when I was younger. I'm such a scene kid. I used to make playlists for every tour I went to. I would look up the set list and learn all the songs being played by each band, even if I didn't necessarily listen to them. And I don't think I realized from a fan perspective how crazy a first album being a big debut for some bands. You know, some bands put out an album, they don't blow up till the second or third. But we got, and I don't even necessarily think we blew up, you know, we didn't have music out. We were a brand new band. So we were just very fortunate that it had the impact that it did. And I think it's crazy because it feels so old and dated to us. And we've been playing these songs on every tour we've ever done. So to us, obviously, our perspective is going to be different than maybe someone who is just hearing us for the first time. Like, even in the last couple months, I feel like we've gotten comments saying, come to this city, you know, where we've been a billion times.
Yeah.
And when I respond that, they say, oh, I just discovered you. And it's so easy to lose sight of that sort of thing being a young band because you feel like you're putting your full self out there all the time. But, you know, people are still finding out about Honey Revenge today from those songs. So that's, I guess, what I mean is without those songs, we would have nothing to connect to people with.
Yeah.
And I think it's really, really awesome and shows a bright future, hopefully, that if we were able to grab people that early on with, and obviously those songs mean so much to us, but you can hear the growth just even from the songs on Retrovision to the Retrovision Deluxe, like Medicine and Recipe. Our identity has been found from releasing. We didn't know who or what we could have been when we put things out in 2023, when we rolled out Retrovision, you know, like our biggest song doesn't even have a music video because we sure as heck didn't think that Airhead was going to be the song that was for. No one could have predicted what was going to happen. We were kind of, everyone was just leaving it to chance a little bit because that's what it kind of is when you're a new band, is seeing what connects and what does it. So we're just so thankful that the music we wrote 4, 5, 6 years ago has taken on the life that Retrovision has.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, what I mean is we could have guessed, you know?
No, that's definitely what kind of the entire music industry feels like, is it's all kind of just a guessing game now. And it's awesome that it's only up from here because you've already seen so much improvement even in just the album. So it should be only up from here, in my opinion.
I appreciate that.
Of course, of course. Kind of in the same vein, you mentioned before you've started at like backyard shows, DIY shows. How has your relationship with your audience and your fans changed with that kind of progression of shows?
I want to say it hasn't. I feel as though we are still very much the same. If anything, the only bummer is we don't get to connect as deeply with each individual person because the goal is always to meet as many of the people waiting to meet us as possible. And because we've been fortunate enough to see that number grow so drastically in the last 3 years, we don't get to have these deep one-on-one discussions. But I will say, I think we've even maybe gotten closer because we have things like our Patreon now, which it allows us to have that deeper relationship with the people that are a part of it. We have the Discord, we have the street team, we have avenues of all different kinds where people can contribute to the community of our band and be a part of something bigger. And I think it's really awesome because we have people in South America that are a part of that. You know, we have people all over the world. It's expanded. If anything, like, it's just gotten better and more deep. Like, I don't think it's really changed besides improving.
That's awesome to hear. That's awesome to hear. When people ask that question, it's very kind of like 50-50, where they're like, oh, there's such a divide now because we're seen as such a big band. But it's awesome to hear that you still feel that there's this like deep connection. That makes me really happy to hear. So I'm glad.
I always felt that with my favorite bands growing up, you know? All of my favorite bands were my favorite bands because they connected with their fans and they interacted with us online. And that just made me want to do that with my own project, because why should we be so out of reach? Like, the whole point is connection.
Exactly. You get it. I like that. We mentioned that list a little earlier. I'm going to touch back on it again.
That list, he said?
Yes. In the vein of kind of keeping things exciting and fresh, since you're playing kind of the same thing every night, do we have any plans to switch it up a little bit? between nights, stuff like that? Any surprises in the works? I know it's so far out and we're just in the planning phase, but I
God,
figured
it's
I'd
gonna
ask.
be here any day. It's really not that far away.
Scary.
So I'm brainstorming. There's some tricks up my sleeve I have to talk to Donnie about. Like I said, we're very show choiry in a sense that we do the same thing every night. And I think the things that differentiate is the crowd and the interactions we get from the audience.
Hmm.
That is the thing that really alters how we perform every day, is the energy we're if it's being reciprocated. But there's a couple things that we do every show for, and we've been doing every show for specific songs for years, that I kind of want to switch up and do something new.
Okay.
I have to talk to Donnie. I have little ideas here and there, but like I said, the set is a headliner, but not in the sense that we have unlimited time. So I'm trying to fit everything in a way that makes sense. I have to run things by, there's safety precautions and things I want to do that I've seen some of my favorite bands growing up do that I kind of love to like pick and choose from and turn into our own thing. So we'll see. I think it's interesting because, like I said, we're playing a good amount of new material, and sometimes it takes one or two tours to really know what you want to do with those
Yeah.
songs. I think that's like, it sounds negative, but it's my least favorite part of playing new music because I'm so excited. But you're not in the swing of things with a new song probably until you've played it 30 times. Like, it takes so long to really feel like, oh, I know what I'm doing on this track. I know how I'm gonna perform to this. It's weird. It's cool though, because it's very humbling. I feel like with all these older songs, like Airhead and Habitual and Are You Impressed, etc. We've been playing them for so long that I could just play them and go through the movements and not even really be paying attention. But that's what's cool about bringing new music to the set, is I kind of have to lock in and really pay attention.
There's potential for so much new things and it's very exciting. So, okay, my last question for you is, do you or the band in general have any pre-show rituals? Whether it be serious, funny, a little bit of both?
This is a question we get asked so often, and only recently do I feel like I have an actual answer for it. Besides like the typical stretch warm up vibe, we do something called the club, which is our bass players. I want to say it originates from her because she's kind of a party girl, and I mean that in the best way. She is so energetic and she really wants to hype us up. So we play a lot of like early 2000s club songs and we kind of just dance,
Okay.
get hyped. And so we put in requests and it's very eclectic. It's a lot of early 2000s nostalgia core, I call it. And we do that. And then we have a chant that we do right before we go on to really lock in. And those are like the two things that we really try to do every night. And I've noticed that when we don't do, especially the chant, if we don't like get together and really like cheer before we go on, it's not always the best show. So we don't always have time, but we always try and at least do the club.
That makes sense. It helps with the connection on stage. I can get it. It makes a difference for sure. Feeling connected, that's what matters. I also lied. I have one more question that I forgot
I
about.
love it. Do it.
Apologize. Apologize.
Oh, you're fine. I'm
S-
just chilling.
Back to about the tour lineup. The tour is headed by almost all feminine people, which is awesome. How do you feel about that and like the representation within this specific tour lineup?
We have our token man, you know, Evan from Games We Play. He's a girl dad. We love him. But I think that's just kind of how things go with us. We're very blatantly ourselves. We're very like much a band of queer people and strong women, and that's just important for me to have around me at all times.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've toured with some great bands that are dudes, but that's just the energy I think that follows Honey Revenge, is a certain amount of femininity and variety of different kinds of people. It's really important to me to make that environment possible as often as we can. I think whether it's different kinds of music or different kinds of human beings, it just fosters an environment for our fans to feel their most comfortable and authentic selves. But yeah, it's really, I mean, I'm excited. I love just hanging with my girls. Like most of our crew are women too. So we're used to it. It's always strange for us because we'll go on tours and the other bands will be like, I've never toured with this many women. And I'm like, that sucks. That's such a bummer to hear.
Sucks
You
for you, however, I get to do this all the
no, 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 watch, sister. It's just like, it's we're very fortunate that it just didn't even cross my mind most of the time because that's just the standard for how we like to tour. It's always very evident in vibes when it's not like that for us. But the men we do choose to tour with, we always say are some of the girls.
time.
I think there's still plenty. I mean, most of the bands are dudes, except for the singers on this tour when you really look at it. But
Yeah.
it's just, I always know that when that's the case and there is a woman in the band, there's likely to be women on the crew more often than not. So, because touring, I think people don't even like register when you're a fan because I didn't. It's so much more than just who's on stage. There's
Yeah.
so many people that make every show possible, especially on summer school. That goes even more so, I think, than like a regular tour we do because there is additional crew to make everything possible. And the tour manager of the whole summer school tour is a woman, and she's so cool and so just like hands on. And a lot of the photographers, and there's tour managers, and there's people doing sound, and there's drivers, and there's techs, and there's just so much. You're just seeing the tip of the iceberg when you come to of who's actually involved. So I think it's going to be really, really special, and I hope it continues to be as inclusive as it's been as long as we've been a part of it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome to hear. Those are all the questions I have for you today. Thank
Awesome.
you. Honey Revenge joins Winona Fighter, South Arcade, Games We Play, and Chase Petra this summer on the Summer School Tour. They'll be stopping at Irving Plaza on July 1st. Thank you so much, Devin, for taking the time to sit down with me today.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Bye.